They never planned to play him. They didn't even want him on the field. But now, they don't have a choice. Shedeur Sanders wasn't supposed to be here. Not as Cubone, not in the spotlight, not leading a franchise that tried everything to keep him in the shadows. Drafted late, buried on the depth chart, treated like a legacy pick, not a legitimate quarterback. And yet, here we are. Friday Night Lights, national stage. The Cleveland Browns have just made the most unexpected move of the preseason, and it's turning the entire NFL on its head. Because Shedeur Sanders has just been named the starter. And this isn't charity. It's not a PR stunt. This is pressure, panic, and a pivot the Browns never saw coming. What happens next might change everything. But to understand why this is so explosive, you need to know what really went down behind the scenes. From the moment his name was called on draft day, Shedeur Sanders wasn't celebrated, he was sidelined. The Cleveland Browns didn't treat his selection like they just landed a potential franchise quarterback. No press conference fanfare, no first-team reps, no vision for development. Instead, they buried him deep. Fourth on the depth chart behind aging veterans and unproven names, Shedeur was treated like an afterthought, a curiosity, a PR piece. And the most telling sign, Browns owner Jimmy Haslam didn't even stand behind the pick. When reporters asked if he supported drafting Shedeur, he shrugged it off like he didn't know the kid existed. Public denial. That wasn't a slip, it was a message. Shedeur wasn't part of their plan. He was a legacy name, drafted to silence headlines, not to lead a locker room. Let's be honest, Cleveland didn't draft Shedeur Sanders to compete. They drafted him to contain the narrative. After an offseason filled with controversy, bad headlines, and public pressure, bringing in the son of Deion Sanders looked like a smart distraction, a way to calm the noise. Let fans talk, let the media swirl, but never actually give him a real shot. They fed the media a clean story. We're just evaluating talent. But behind closed doors, they were funneling reps to quarterbacks who'd already shown their ceiling. Kenny Pickett, whose injury history reads like a medical report. Dillon Gabriel, a college standout whose throws often missed by miles in practice. And Joe Flacco, clinging to the past more than building toward the future. Meanwhile, Shedeur? Scout team. No rhythm with starters, no reps to build chemistry, no input on the playbook. It was never a competition. It was suppression. But here's where things start to crack. Shedeur didn't protest. He didn't vent to the media or take cryptic shots on social media. He just got to work, quietly, ruthlessly. Every rep with the scout team? He treated it like a playoff game. Every throw? Laser precise. Every read sharp. Even with second-string linemen and unfamiliar receivers, Shedeur turned heads, whispers started, coaches took notice. And slowly, that buried rookie began pushing his way to the surface. Because when you're built for the spotlight, the shadows can't hold you forever. And that's what the Browns never expected. They thought they could stash him, silence the hype, ride the veterans. But now, that strategy is crumbling. Because Shedeur Sanders isn't just surviving, he's forcing a franchise to reckon with what they've ignored for months. They might have drafted a future superstar and tried to hide him. Cleveland never wanted Shedeur Sanders on the field. Not in the preseason, not with the starters, not with the cameras rolling. But reality doesn't always care about plans. Because one by one, their quarterback options started falling apart. Kenny Pickett? Injured. Dillon Gabriel? Battling a hamstring and overwhelmed by the speed of the pro game. Joe Flacco? Too old, too slow, and frankly, too uninterested. Suddenly, the quarterback room the Browns thought they had under control became a triage unit, and standing in the middle of the chaos was the rookie they tried to ignore. They had no choice. The Browns didn't crown Shedeur Sanders because he earned their trust. They handed him the starting role because they ran out of options. This wasn't a reward. It was a desperation move, pure and simple. A panic pivot disguised as an opportunity. And now? The lights are coming on. This Friday night, Shedeur won't be watching from the sidelines or warming up behind the scenes. He'll be under center at Bank of America Stadium, with the entire NFL watching. But here's what makes this moment different. He's not just stepping into a game, he's stepping into a reckoning. Because this isn't just a preseason opener. This is the moment Cleveland tried to delay. It's the moment they hoped they could avoid by stacking the depth chart with recycled veterans and safe prospects. But football doesn't wait for comfort. When the game kicks off, none of that noise matters. There are no excuses now. No chemistry with the starters? Doesn't matter. No designed playbook tailored to his strengths? Tough. No first-team reps to build timing and trust? Irrelevant. This is a live NFL defense. Real pressure, real bullets flying. And Deion Sanders is being thrown into it with the weight of every slight, every snub, every buried headline resting on his shoulders. But here's the twist. That's exactly where he thrives. See, most rookies get eased into the league. They're protected, coddled, given limited snaps in safe situations. But Shedeur? He's being hurled into the deep end, and the Browns are praying he floats. What they don't realize is he's been swimming upstream his entire career. From Trinity Christian to Jackson State to Colorado and now Cleveland, Shedeur has never been handed anything. And now that he's finally got a shot, even if it's born out of panic, he's ready to torch the plan they thought would contain him. The Browns wanted to keep him under wraps, but now he's center stage. And once he takes that field, one thing becomes clear. There's no going back. When Deion Sanders takes the field, don't expect a warm welcome from the Browns coaching staff. Don't expect tailored play designs, simplified reads, or a supportive game plan. He's not getting that. Not even close. Because the truth is, Cleveland isn't setting him up to succeed, they're setting him up to prove them right. Right that he's not ready. Right that he's just a rookie. Right that he was never supposed to be more than a flashy draft headline. And you can see it in the way they've handled his reps. The ones he does get are with second-string linemen, receivers trying to make the team, and a playbook that wasn't built for his style at all. He's running packages made for someone else, quick slants, dump-offs, safe plays. It's like they're giving him a test they hope he fails. But here's what makes Shedeur dangerous. He doesn't need the support. He's not asking for a perfect pocket or Pro Bowl weapons. He's not begging for Deion's help from the sidelines. He's not even complaining to the media. Shedeur is treating this like he always has, like the deck is stacked and the only way to win is to burn it down. And despite the uphill battle, he's making noise. During joint practices with the Panthers, he turned heads not with trick plays or showboating, but with raw command. Pre-snap reads, silent adjustments, pinpoint throws in tight windows. He made defenders miss with quick feet and fired lasers under pressure. And when he connected with Jimmy Horn Jr. on a deep sideline strike that left the Panthers' corner spinning, even the doubters in the Browns camp couldn't look away. But don't expect the media to jump on it just yet. They're cautious. Because if Shedeur succeeds without the team's support, that's a bigger story than anyone's ready to admit. It means Cleveland had a gem and tried to bury it. It means all their offseason decisions were built on shaky ground. And it means the quarterback room isn't as locked in as they thought. Because now the whispers are getting louder. Why is Shedeur playing like the most poised QB on the field? Why isn't he getting more first-team reps? And the biggest one of all, what happens if he wins this job outright? The Browns wanted a quiet preseason, but now they've got a storm. And at the center of it is a rookie they didn't plan for commanding the huddle, winning over the locker room and building something the front office never saw coming. Belief. No hype. No help. Just Shedeur making it impossible to ignore him. In the NFL, quarterbacks don't just earn stats, they earn control, and Deion Sanders is quietly taking it. Not with flashy interviews, not with viral highlights, but in the place where reputations are built and broken, the locker room. At first, most of the veterans didn't know what to make of him. He was the coach's son from Colorado, a media magnet, a social media QB. Some called him more Instagram clips than NFL tape. The whispers were loud. And in the NFL, whispers carry. But Shedeur didn't respond with talk. He responded with work. First guy in the building, last one to leave, every film session, every walkthrough, every rep treated like it was life or death. Not just for show, but because he knew exactly how this league treats rookies like him. Especially rookies the front office didn't fully believe in. Then something started to shift. Receivers began requesting to work with him during off days. Linemen started showing up early when they knew he'd be there. And slowly, the vets who once gave him side eyes started nodding when he entered the huddle. Because there's something you can't fake in the NFL command, and Shedeur's got it. He doesn't beg for trust. He earns it play by play. And that connection with Jimmy Horn Jr., it's real. These two have chemistry that's years in the making, built at Colorado, tested in games where they had no business competing. And now, it's transferring to the league. In front of everyone's eyes, defensive backs are noticing, coaches are noticing, and maybe most important, the other quarterbacks are noticing. See, Dylan Gabriel's still struggling to find rhythm. Joe Flacco looks like he's on a retirement tour. And Kenny Pickett? He's watching Shedeur build a following inside the locker room, the kind of quiet following that shifts power behind closed doors. This isn't just about talent anymore. This is about energy. Who the guys believe in, who they fight for, who they want leading that huddle when the game is on the line. And right now, that's becoming Shedeur. Even the coaching staff, the same people who buried him on the depth chart, are starting to feel it. They can't say it out loud. Not yet. But the shift is undeniable. What started as a rookie curiosity is turning into a locker room movement, one built on poise, leadership, and the kind of unshakable belief you can't fake even if you try. The Browns wanted to keep things quiet, but when the locker room starts buzzing, silence becomes impossible. Because once you've got the guys in the room believing in you, the rest of the league is next. Let's be honest, Deion Sanders wasn't supposed to be this good. Not in his rookie year. Not in this system, and definitely not on this team. When the Browns drafted him, most analysts treated it like a headline grab. Just Deion's kid, they said. A late-round pick with flashy numbers from a college that didn't play real competition. The mainstream media had already written his NFL ceiling, backup at best, practice squad at worst. But Shedeur didn't buy into that, and now? The entire script is flipping. Because what we're seeing in training camp, especially during those joint practices, isn't just a promising rookie, it's a star in the making. One who plays like the spotlight's been chasing him his whole life, and now it's finally caught up. And that deep ball to Jimmy Horn Jr.? That wasn't luck. That was chemistry, precision, and poise under pressure. It was the kind of throw only a franchise quarterback makes, one who understands timing, anticipation, and most importantly, trust. He's processing defenses like a veteran. He's improvising when plays break down. He's commanding the field like it belongs to him. And maybe that's what's bothering the skeptics the most. He's not waiting his turn. He's taking it. The Browns had no plan for this. Their depth chart is full. Their starter is locked in. Their fans were told to be patient, to trust the process, to believe in the rebuild. But here comes Shedeur, a player they thought would sit quietly and learn, suddenly looking like the best quarterback on the field. And here's the wildest part, he's doing it without help from the media machine. He's not being hyped on ESPN. He's not trending for drama. He's not being shoved into highlight reels. He's being slept on again and still waking people up with every single throw. This isn't just about skill anymore. It's about narrative. The story of a quarterback they overlooked. A kid who was doubted at every level, high school, college, the draft, and is now making NFL vets nod their heads and say, "That kid's got it." Because there's something different about the way he moves, the way he leads, the way he shrugs off pressure and plays like he's been here before. This wasn't supposed to happen. Not now, not this fast, and definitely not in Cleveland. But here we are, and Shedeur Sanders is forcing the NFL to take notice. He's not just climbing the depth chart, he's rewriting it. The Browns didn't ask for a quarterback controversy, but now they've got one, and it's boiling over behind closed doors. See, when Shedeur Sanders started turning heads in practice, coaches smiled. It was harmless, exciting even. A feel-good story, something to stir up headlines during a slow preseason. But now, it's real. Because the rookie isn't just performing, he's outperforming. And not just anyone, he's making their starter look replaceable. Let's talk about Kenny Pickett. Traded to the Browns expecting a fresh start, Pickett was handed the keys to the offense before the ink was dry. Everyone assumed it was his job. A bridge quarterback? Maybe, but still the guy for now. But Shedeur? He didn't get that memo. Now, every day at camp, the difference is getting harder to ignore. One looks safe, controlled, predictable. The other? Confident, explosive, unshakable. Receivers are gravitating to Shedeur. Coaches are splitting more reps than usual. And the quiet looks from players, they're starting to say what the coaching staff won't. And that's creating tension. In any locker room, quarterback battles are political. You don't just win the job, you earn it through a mix of performance, trust, and hierarchy. But when the rookie starts outperforming the vet, that hierarchy crumbles fast. Some insiders say Pickett's been visibly frustrated, short with teammates, tight in drills, and not just because of bad throws, but because he feels the pressure coming from behind, loudly. And Joe Flacco? He's not even in the conversation anymore. The veteran presence is there, sure, but no one's expecting him to take meaningful snaps unless something catastrophic happens. Right now, the real competition is between Deion Sanders and the system that wasn't built for him. Make no mistake, the Browns front office is in a bind. Do they stay committed to their original plan and ride with Pickett even if he's underwhelming? Or do they take a massive risk, rip up the playbook, and hand the offense to a rookie with no NFL starts? It's the kind of choice that could define a season or a regime. Because if Shedeur keeps doing what he's doing, making the harder throws, leading the more effective drives, winning over the locker room, then the question isn't if he should start. It's how much longer they can afford to pretend he shouldn't. The Browns are trying to downplay it. Press conferences stay vague. Coaches say everyone's competing. But inside that building, they know what's happening. And Shedeur knows too. He's not waiting. He's preparing. Because this isn't just a competition anymore. It's a takeover in progress. If you think Shedeur's rise is just about talent, you're missing half the story. Because behind the scenes, there's a voice that's been echoing through every move, every headline, and every sideline whisper: Deion Sanders. Coach Prime isn't just Shedeur's father, he's his brand, his mentor, his built-in PR machine. And whether the Browns like it or not, that influence is felt. Let's rewind. Shedeur didn't land in the NFL by accident. His journey was built with purpose, from dominating at Jackson State under the primetime spotlight, to holding his own in Colorado despite the critics, to now taking reps in Cleveland like he's already Cubone. And through it all, Deion's been right there, not interfering, but orchestrating. Sources say Deion's been extremely vocal behind closed doors, not with the media, but with people who matter. Agents, executives, influential names around the league. And the message is clear: don't sleep on Shedeur, he's not here to be a backup. That's not just confidence, that's calculated pressure. And let's be honest, it's working. You don't bench a quarterback with this much buzz. Not when Deion Sanders is in the picture. Not when reporters know a single quote from him could hijack a news cycle. Not when one viral clip could turn the Browns from a rebuilding team into a media circus. And that's what the Browns are afraid of. See, this isn't just about football anymore. It's about optics, headlines, fan expectations, and most importantly, legacy. Because Shedeur isn't just trying to make the team. He's trying to build a name that separates him from his father's shadow. But ironically, that shadow might be the very thing pushing him forward. Deion has said it before, he doesn't want Shedeur in a situation where he's not the guy, where he's overlooked, underused, or waiting behind mid-tier QBs. And while he's staying quiet for now, there's no doubt he's watching every single snap. And he's not the only one. Executives from other teams have reportedly been asking around, watching tape, making quiet inquiries, because if Shedeur somehow doesn't win the job in Cleveland, someone else will give him a shot. The Browns know this. They know that if they mishandle this situation, if they try to wait it out or bury the story, they're not just risking a rookie's momentum. They're risking a full-blown media war with one of football's most iconic voices. And that's the kind of war no franchise wants. So, while Shedeur's letting his play do the talking, Deion's presence is doing the rest. And what happens next could change everything. Now, here's where things get dangerous, not for Shedeur, but for the entire Browns organization. Because what started as a quiet QB experiment is now a full-blown dilemma, and there's no clean way out of it. On one hand, you have your franchise guy, the high-priced veteran, the quarterback this team swore they'd build around even if fans still haven't fully bought in. On the other, a rookie who was never supposed to be in this position, but somehow keeps outshining everyone. And the film doesn't lie. The reps don't lie. The locker room? Reportedly starting to whisper. This isn't a question of potential anymore. It's about performance, and Shedeur is delivering right now. So, what do the Browns do? Do they bury the story, keep Shedeur as a backup, and hope the media storm dies down? Do they quietly stash him away until next year, pretending this whole thing never happened? Or do they do the unthinkable change course midstream, admit they may have found something special, and risk it all by handing the keys to a 21-year-old rookie? It's a choice that could either save their season or blow up in their face. And here's what makes it even trickier. This isn't just about wins and losses. It's about ego, contracts, optics, ownership, and the fear of letting go of a plan they've already invested millions in. But here's the problem. The longer they delay the decision, the louder the noise gets. Because every preseason rep Shedeur takes, every touchdown pass he throws, every highlight clip that goes viral, it chips away at the Browns' ability to control the narrative. And if they're not careful, this won't just be a QB controversy, it'll be a franchise identity crisis. Think about it. What happens if Shedeur keeps winning in practice? What if the veterans start backing him publicly? What if Deion finally speaks up and flips the story nationwide? The Browns aren't just evaluating talent anymore, they're standing at a crossroads. Do they stick with the status quo and risk losing a star in the making? Or do they take a leap? One that could define the next decade of their franchise? One thing is clear. Deion Sanders has forced a decision. And whatever the Browns choose to do next, it won't go unnoticed. Because this isn't just about Cleveland anymore. This is about a new face in football, one who wasn't invited to the table, but showed up anyway. And now, everyone's watching what they do next.